Council meeting in the Town Council Chambers, 1170 Main Street. It is now 7 p.m. John, will you lead us in prayer?
Yes. Let's rise, please. Heavenly Father, we gather here this evening as your humble servants. Please guide us and help us make thoughtful decisions and grace us with your divine wisdom. Amen.
Jay, will you listen to the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Licciardi.
Here.
Councilwoman Williamson. Here. Councilman Messier.
Here.
Council Vice President D'Amico.
Here.
Council President Goslin.
Here.
There is a quorum on record. Rhode Island Small Cities Community Development Block Grant.
I need somebody to move the resolution.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Move second. Elaine, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
Good.
So this is the 2018 program year. We're running 1 year behind at the state. And these are the activities that are proposed. It's housing rehab applications are now awarded on a case-by-case basis. The Phoenix Infrastructure Project for the Brayton Street drainage is earmarked at $500,000 for Phase 1. Harris Avenue roadway improvements, $225,000. Church Street roadway improvements, $225,000. Cornerstone Adult Services, which is regional funding. It is the town of West Warwick as well as 4 other communities that they have opted for us to apply for on their behalf at $45,000, and $25,000 for the Human Services operating portion of the senior center.
Any questions for Elaine?
Yes. Elaine, do you know when we would know if we receive anything?
The application is due next week, so the final stages of all of the paperwork is being done now. It'll be submitted on the 15th, and the target date for an award is August 1st. And that's give or take a few days on their end.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Any other questions for Elaine? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fiscal year 2019-2020 budget for the Regional Wastewater Treatment Facility Plant.
Move the resolution.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moving second. Any discussion? I think they're here if anybody has any public discussion. With no discussion on the West Warwick treatment facility, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Ordinance number 2019-2, first reading, sponsored by Council President Goslin. An ordinance amending Chapter 10, License and Business Regulations, to go 5 hawkers and peddlers of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of West Warwick.
I'll move the resolution.
I second.
Actually, you're moving the resolution. Al?
Is this the resolution or the ordinance?
Well, it says resolution.
No.
But,
Wait. No, it says ordinance.
no, but I'm saying it says resolution here.
We have a resolution and an ordinance.
Resolutions I, the ordinance is H.
Ordinance is first.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll move the ordinance.
Gotta get me a printout for that, because it's not here.
You don't need to.
I second.
Moving second, Al?
Before I get into the matter, a couple of comments as to why I'm here. First, Jason, you've had a lot of interest in food trucks. We don't have food trucks anymore. Some genius has decided in the state of Rhode Island, we now have mobile food establishments. No more food trucks. They went through 12 pages of regulations.
A mobile food truck, mobile restaurant truck nights,
Yeah, mobile food establishments.
truck
They've
nights.
gone so far as, and I want the council to be aware of what they've done with these regulations. Each municipality must designate a contact person for a mobile food truck, mobile food establishment permits. That person's name, position, phone number, and email address must be provided to the Department of Business Regulations within 30 days of the effective date of this regulation. Any change in this designation must be reported to the department within 5 business days. What I'm saying is, somebody up there had nothing better to do than come up with this. And you got a new ordinance for it. Basically, all the ordinance does is brings us in compliance with the regulation. We had to make sure that we added a provision to our hawkers and peddlers, that this does not include mobile food establishments, that the mobile food establishments permit will be issued by the town clerk, that they don't have any more to do than saying where they can park, and that they got a permit. The permit has to be very visible to the public, and you have to, the next item is the resolution that our fees have to comply with the state mandated.
So maybe I was misinterpreting it before, because I thought when they changed it with the state now, that it was just gonna be regulated through the state, and the individual towns and municipalities weren't gonna be regulating them, so that's
No,
wrong, that's not correct. Okay.
Yeah, it is correct. You have no regulation power. All you can do is issue permits. And the permits basically say where and when you can operate. That's the extent of it,
Okay,
through this designated official with state sanctions.
so is the permit fees, are they?
The fees, that comes up in the resolution.
Okay.
They're spelled out by the state as to what
So
you're
we
allowed
have,
to charge.
for that, we have no, it's what they charge, okay,
Whatever they tell you to charge, that's what you charge.
okay,
So that's it.
okay.
Any other questions for Al? Any public comment? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Jay?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes,
Mary Beth?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Fees and charge resolution.
move the resolution,
Second?
Moving second. Al?
Previously, we had food trucks, and we charged $75 for a West Warwick resident and $100 for a non-resident. Now, for our mobile food truck establishments, our initial permit is $6 per month, because the initial permit must expire at the same time that the permit issued by the state expires. There's nothing in here to tell us how Paul is supposed to know when the state expires, but ours has to expire on that date. So because it's set at $75 for the year, I use $6 a month, and the renewal will be $75 for the year. And then to quote the state language, $300 maximum municipal event temporary mass gather permit fee by the organizer of an event. So I'm assuming that if somebody comes in and wants a mass gathering, or the town has some function, the most we can charge is $300.
so that like a food truck night,
I guess so.
you can charge 300 for the whole night?
Doesn't say who you charge.
Any questions for Al? Any public comment on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye,
Opposed? Ayes have it, thank you, Al.
Thank you.
thank you.
A 90-day update on Family Med Plus and University Orthopedics, Inc.
Who's giving this update?
I believe the tax collector, I believe that they're in compliance. I would just confirm that.
Just come up to the, oops, just come up to the mic.
Just that they're in compliance with the taxes. They are being paid on a quarterly basis.
Neighborhood emergency is not.
All right, how far behind are they?
They still owe 17 and 18
All right.
tangible.
All right.
And then Lizer, Harry trustee, they made three quarters. They owe one more, but we're still processing for April, so
All right.
it might be in there.
My suggestion would be to the council to move forward against the entity that's not paying. However, the entity that is paying, figuring that they have paid their fourth quarter, just put that entity back on the agenda for 3 months,
So that'd be Family Med.
right?
But Family Med does not have, they'll get a bill this coming year.
Right. What I'm saying is that the entity prior to Family Med, we're gonna go after them, but the other entity is paying.
Yes,
So my suggestion would be is allow the entity that is paying, give them another 3 months for review, and we'll go after the the other entity that was there before, Family Med.
Any questions on that? Thank you for the update.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Minutes of previous meeting, resolved that the minutes of the April 2nd, 2019 FY 20 public hearing, town council meeting, April 9th, 2019 FY 20 budget hearing, and April 10th, 2019 executive session is hereby accepted.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion?
Actually, I would like to point out on item J, cancellation of taxes. It says that I move the table all items except Mary Asselin from the 2018. It should say real property, and you'll find that later on that actually is being addressed again on tonight's agenda, so. Just if we add the terms real property in there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Consent agendas. Resolved that the consent agenda having been posted, all matters being referred to the proper departments and being disposed of, waiting recommendations, the same is hereby approved.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moving second, discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none. Are we on consent agenda 1 or 2?
One.
Alright.
Licenses.
License applications.
Mhm.
Any public comment on license applications?
There, you need to do an amendment.
Yes, I'm sorry, I gotta look at it, it's on my agenda here. We have one amendment, and that's the date of,
That is the EWA Entertainment. That is May 19, 2019.
when he filled out the application, he filled out the application of where he is at 3 Brayton Street.
No,
Bridal.
Ave.
Bridal Ave, I'm sorry, Bridal Avenue. And he's actually, his event is at 100 Factory Street, which is the Civic Center. So that's the only amendment we would have to make to the agenda, to that item.
Move to amend.
Move to amend from 3 Bridal Ave to 100 Factory Street.
Second.
All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Any other discussion on the licenses? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. If you're here for a license, all licenses have been approved.
Consent agendas correspondence. Resolved that the consent agenda having been posted, all matters being referred to proper departments and being disposed or awaiting recommendation, the same is hereby approved.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Replacement firearms range roof. Resolved that the town council hereby approves the replacement of the roof at the police department's firearms training facility after receiving 3 bids. The lowest bidder was La Mountain Inc. of Kenny Street in West Warwick. The project will be funded from the following source: police capital, range animal shelter repairs, station building repairs for $9,950.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Move second, chief?
Good evening. This was planned by Colonel Magara, then Chief of Police, in last year's capital budget. We're prepared now to recommend, after Major Levine obtained the 3 bids, and we're recommending the lowest bidder. The project would be paid out of our capital money and be completed prior to the end of June.
Any questions for the chief? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Solid Waste and Recycling Services Agreement between the Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation. Resolved that the town council hereby approves the following solid waste recycling service agreement between the Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion? Ernie, who put this on the agenda?
This was from Public Works, but I can give you a little overview. And this is an agreement that the Resource Recovery Corporation has sent to all communities, cities and towns in Rhode Island that use their facility. Their current agreement expires June 30th, 2019. So they sent these new agreements to all the, again, cities and towns that use their facility. And this will begin starting July 1st. And again, this is something like, since they are the exclusive entity where, we take our solid waste. This is pretty much a contract that, we have to enter into. It would be effective July 1st, 2019, Monday at 6 a.m. That's when it starts. And the rate per ton is $47 for municipal solid waste, and that has been extended for FY '20 and '21. There is a cap increase fee for loads per ton that are exceeded our cap from $67 to $80, and some other smaller changes. So again, this is something that is required to participate and take our refuge to the Resource Recovery Corporation's facility in Johnston. And there really isn't too much other to say about it. The agreement has to be entered into by June 30th, and it is required to be there effective July 1st. If it's not, then I believe they charge $80 a ton for refuge brought in if the agreement is not signed. So again, it's something that I believe they have worked with. The Solid Waste Corporation has worked with recycling coordinators and DPW staff from cities and towns in putting this agreement together. And that's pretty much what I know about it. So I don't know if Nicole has any additional information, but, it's almost like, not much choice.
Held hostage.
Exactly.
Any discussion from the council? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Boards, commission, committees, applications sponsored by Council President Goslin.
Have a motion?
I'll move the resolution.
A second?
Moved and seconded. So Paula sent me over and I made plenty of room. If you look on the top, I put a couple, obviously the State of Rhode Island BCI attached, yes or no. If they don't want to attach it, we'll give them the option. Council can decide from there. At the new office over near the registry there in Cranston, they will do the background check for free. We've had a couple of people already go and do it, and they do it for free. One did say they got charged $5, so I guess it depends who you get. Also, if you look, I put please print or type, so it's legible for us, and all information is required. So, anybody have any concerns with this application process for now? And that way there, Paula can start taking applications for boards and commissions again. And Paula, I would direct, and especially people who have been on boards, who just send a letter saying I'd like to be reappointed, to direct them to online and or to you to get the application, and that way they fill it in. All right?
So this is still going to be like physically printed out? There's not a program we can use where they can actually enter everything in?
We can put it online in Excel format, and they can edit that way. If it's on PDF, then they can't. So that's the only way you can actually, if you put it online, so they can either well, they can print it and then handwrite it, but if you put it on Excel format online, they'll be able to download it to their computer and edit it there. They can't save it to our site, so that's fine. And then they can either print it or email it to you, so that would be the best way to put it online. Because that's the way it was sent. If you send it to me in PDF, I can't change it, but when you send it to me in Excel, I was able to change everything. So, any questions? Anna?
May I have a question, please? Anna Maria Raimondo, 26 Carlson Circle. I have a concern on that, and I was just wondering, I know the application process is pretty general now, like you've formed it, but considering something like the Juvenile Justice Board, where there's a certain amount of like confidentiality expected, and we're dealing with some individuals that we have on the board that work either for agencies with children or previous Department of Corrections and such, do you still have to publish addresses, phone numbers? Because that could be potentially dangerous if someone were to get access to.
Unless there's a statute that protects that individual from that particular job, from having an address publicized, it wouldn't affect anybody else. If somebody meets the criteria of the statute, sure, but other than that, I mean, getting addresses isn't that difficult with voter registration, so.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they meet the criteria of the statute that prevents the publication of their address, that will be taken into consideration.
Okay, yeah, and I wonder, because I know that sometimes with like, say for instance, judgeship or something like that, you don't, in an application, I don't think, I may be wrong, that you don't post all their information, or is that posted as
No,
well?
that's all posted. The
Oh,
only
it
thing that's
is?
usually not posted is the social security number.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you.
Any other comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Cancellation of taxes. Resolved that the attached cancellation in the amount of $60,025.92 presented to the tax assessor for approval of the town council in accordance with Article 25, Section 5 of the West Warwick Code of Ordinance is hereby approved. Original list is filed in the tax assessor's office, and that was previously tabled.
Move the resolution.
Second?
We have to take it
Oh.
off the table.
Motion to table.
Motion to take it off the table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now,
Motion to move the resolution.
I second.
discussion? I think this was tabled because Councilwoman Williamson had some questions. But I still have further questions because that site is actually the cell tower, correct?
Yeah, what I've been told is that we don't, as a council, have the ability to, or don't need to approve the SL. Usually any decision made by the Board of Assessment Review is independent.
But again, are they paying taxes on that cell tower is the question?
Some, not a lot, based on, I think that was attached.
But previously to these assessments, all they were paying on was the tower itself at a very low personal property. I mean, I think some of them, they had a value of like $10,000 on them.
What's the valuation of that cell tower right now?
Right now, which one? The one up on
The hill.
the school? I think I have around $700,000 or $800,000 in value now.
And that's what they're paying taxes on?
That's what they, yes.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
Yep. That wasn't one of the ones involved. There were other ones, there were a couple on Coesia, there was a couple on James P. Murphy.
Okay.
That we're making the adjustments to. On top of that, these were border review adjustments that usually the board makes. They give their opinion, whether denied or approved with an amount, and then that gets processed, and then it's presented to the council, I believe, for information purposes. I don't think the council could go against the border review decision. I think it's set up that way.
So they are indeed paying some taxes, though.
Yes.
They are all paying some
Yes.
taxes. It has not been completely abated.
Correct.
Any other comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Discussion action. Fire hydrants, sponsored by Council President Goslin.
So this was brought up at last meeting, so I asked to put it on the agenda. It was brought up by a private resident, Pete Cottrell. Tim, can you give an update?
Yes, the town council had inquired about this several years ago, specifically in 2015. At that time, the Kent County Water Authority was sued by the Coventry Fire District, case number KC 2015-0487, and also by the Central Coventry Fire District, KC 2015-0910. In both of those cases, a Superior Court judge, Gallo and Stern, found that there was no basis for the complaint, given the fact that the water authorities could not provide ownership, one way or the other, of the fire hydrants. And again, as I explained to a prior council, this would be a case of cost-benefit analysis to determine whether or not you want to do the research and dig into not only the Kent County Water Authority, the Town of West Warwick's archives, the General Assembly's archives, budgets evidencing payment from West Warwick to Kent County the first time that happened, the authority establishing the taxes, the fees, the cost, the tariffs, et cetera. That's just to get into a position to determine whether or not we have a theory of law which to proceed on. Once that happens and a complaint gets filed, now we have to overcome either a motion for declaratory judgment and/or a motion for summary judgment. So as I indicated in the past, I'm ready, willing, and able to provide you with an answer, but you're gonna pay for it, and at the end, you may not get the answer you want.
So, when Coventry Fire District went upon, after this, what was, you said it ended in summary judgment.
In both cases, the attorney for the Kent County Water Authority, Patrick Sullivan, filed a motion for summary judgment. Both of the fire districts responded, and the motions for summary judgment were granted. The matter involving the Coventry Fire District ended without appeal. Right now, the matter involving the Central Coventry Fire District is on appeal. However, nothing's been done with the exception of the case was returned to the Superior Court back on June 29th, 2016. So even though they did file an appeal, request a transcript, nothing's been done on it really in 3 years.
Can we reach out to them and find out what's going on with it?
I've already have, and both times Judge Gallo and Judge Stern both indicated to Mr. Reed, who was representing the Coventry Fire District, and David D'Agostino, representing the Central Coventry Fire District, that without proof of ownership, you can't go forward, therefore they lack standing. Now, I can get copies of the transcript and provide it to the council for your own review, but again, it's just a question of, you're gonna have to establish the fact that nothing occurred between the town of West Warwick and the Kent County Water Authority years ago, because I know for a fact the town's been paying for hydrants for at least 30 years. So I'm assuming in the archives, if it can be found, and there are going to be written notes to meeting minutes, there's not going to be any audio or video of that. We'd have to establish that the.
Hours and
Oh, absolutely.
hours of research.
You're looking at, just to find out whether we can go forward, you're looking at $15,000 to $25,000 in attorney's fees. Because you have to look at each one of these things. And then you got case law, you're gonna have to review property law, contract law, municipal law, compare everything to the charter, the Constitution, and statute. And so the question is, I don't think the Kent County Water Authority just sent a bill one time, the town paid it, and that's what occurred. So something happened in the past, I just don't know when it did. Now, we can establish when the Kent County Water Authority was established, but we're gonna move forward from there. So again, it's a question of, I don't think it's really been established that the Kent County Water Authority is correct, but again, the two shots they took back in 2015 did not end up in any conclusion or benefit for the the fire districts.
Where do you go from here? I mean, Coventry hasn't done anything in 3 years.
Coventry Fire District.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of the fire districts haven't done anything. There's been no other community that's brought any action against the Water Authority regarding the same issue.
Why is the number like 600,000 in my head? Was that what we thought? Was it 500,000? We thought was possibly,
The annual payment to the Kent County Water Authority?
when we talked about this going back a while ago, and we were going to pursue it.
If you look,
Consider pursuing it.
remember, you
What
have,
was the-
you're looking at an upfront expense to determine whether or not you can go forward.
Right. which
Then
would
you're gonna
be-
have, there'll be litigation in the Superior Court. And prior to even having a trial, Kent County Water Authority is gonna move to dismiss the case because of either a procedural term or a substantive term with a motion for summary judgment or a motion for declaratory judgment. Should we win and they don't appeal, we go forward with the trial. Should they win, we appeal, it's gonna be in the Supreme Court. And I don't know if the
which could take-
Yeah,
chief can add to that.
I would like to research a little. I can call the chief in Coventry and just see, what information he can provide us. I would ask you to table it. It is $500,000, just over $500,000 a year
It was,
that we are paying. And,
excuse me, but 2015, you're looking at probably 400,000 a year. So it wasn't small potatoes back then either.
yeah. So before we either spend 25,000 to see if it's worth, let's see what we can find out first. If we table it, and I can let you guys know
You're
what I
willing
can
to take
find out.
that?
Yeah, I'll see preliminarily, what we can find out. Okay?
All right, I'll make a motion to table.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Chief, for stepping up.
Supplemental appropriation to the West Warwick Pension Fund, sponsored by the town manager.
Just some background on this issue. There is a pension funding chart in the annual financial statements, and for fiscal year June 30th, 2018, and it shows the town's contributions to the pension fund. The chart compares the actuarial determined contributions to the actual contributions. In year ending June 30th, 2015, the actuarial determined contribution was $8,103,839. The actual contribution made by the town was $8,062,234, and that left a shortfall of $41,650. So at that year, the town funded the pension plan 99.48%. In the year ending June 30th, 2016, the actuarial determined contribution was to be $8,309,706. The actual contribution that year was $8,179,980. Again, this left a shortfall of $129,726. Again, that year, the plan was 98.43% funded. And then in the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018, the actuarial determined contribution was $9,257,300. The actual contribution that year was $9,247,549, and this was a shortfall of $9,751. So that year, the plan was funded 99.89%. And why? So we looked at that, and from what we can tell, in FY15, the valuation report, which is the final numbers, was issued 5 months after the budget was adopted. In FY16, the valuation report was issued 7 months after the budget was adopted. So it seems like the budgeted amount was an estimate, close estimate, but when the evaluation was completed and the final numbers were available, there was a slight shortfall in each of those 2 years. In FY18, it appears that that small amount was, I believe, to one of the departments maybe was funded just not appropriately. So again, what to do? When you look back, when in 2014, when the 5-year plan was created, there was a commitment by the town to fund going forward 100% of the required contribution. And I have spoken to a number of members of council who believe that, as I do, the commitment that was made back then should be honored, and the town should make a 100% contribution. So at this point, I'm recommending that a supplemental appropriation to the pension fund be made in the amount of $171,331. And that would actually represent the full funding, if you will, for fiscal years 15 and 16. And in fiscal 18, we'll make up the shortfall because it's a small amount in the current budget that we have. And at the present time, I would work with the finance director to look at the best method. It may be an ordinance taking that amount from our undesignated fund balance. Currently, there's $962,354 in that account. And this year, we're trending for, if things go as anticipated, revenues over expenses will be between $400,000 to $500,000 in the good. So if we allocate the 171, we should be replenishing that amount by between $400,000 and $500,000. So we anticipate that we'll end the fiscal year in the black, and the additional amount will in addition to compensating for this 171, you know, we should have, you know, hopefully $200,000 to $300,000 above that. And so, that's sort of the overview, and I'd be happy to have any questions, or if any council members would like to discuss their thoughts.
Any questions from the council?
No, I mean, it was pointed out, and we did indeed, as a town, say that we would fund it 100%, and that's the right thing to do, so, I
Yeah,
believe anyway.
we actually received the attorney letters from, I keep forgetting that
The
last name.
retired,
Yeah, but the attorney representing,
Ifredi, Carly
Ifredi.
Ifredi, represent retirees
Um,
disabled.
and we basically haven't really responded back except for we're working on it. And so they were wanting to come before the council to talk about those shortfalls. I sent those off to you. I know the town manager, I sent it to him also. And after further discussion with the town manager, I think everybody's had some sort of conversation with the town manager about it. I think it's the right thing to do, put some ease of the retirees and the employees, knowing that we supposed to fund it 100%, and we keep funding it 100%.
If the final answer is always coming after the projections, are we gonna be in the same position this year?
No, that changed in, I believe, 2017? It changed, so now we're on the cycle where it's July 1st of that year, so right now, the most current one we have is July 1st of 2018. That is worked on and completed and given to the pension board in November. So, you know, they will approve that, and then we'll use that number when we prepare our budget. So the,
Should be on top.
that scheduling issue or that schedule is no longer a problem. So we will know the exact number from the actuary, and that's what is put into the budget.
And you would have to put that in an ordinance fashion. If we're taking money out of the rainy day fund, or designated fund, everybody calls it different. You definitely have to put that in an ordinance fashion, so we really can't take a vote here tonight. It'd be
Oh, no.
before us.
Next meeting.
The 28th, I think.
20th, okay.
Thanks, Ernie.
What's the rate of return on investment?
I don't have that on me right now, Bert, but I can get that for you. Thank you. Next? Yep,
Pat Towing, sponsored by Council President Goslin.
okay.
I'm recusing myself from this matter.
Thank you, Councilman. So last week, first of all, let me start off. Pat's Towing on March 13, 2017, entered into a payment plan with the town of West Warwick to keep them off tax sale. And midway through 2018, from May to August, there were no payments made. And at that time, Pat's Towing was removed from the towing list and considered that the agreement was null and void at that time. So last week, I got to meet with the Raimondo daughters, who have power of attorney, to speak on behalf of their parents. And, you know, they showed me their payments, they showed me everything that they did for the last 3 years. And a lot of payments have come to the town, and I think the solicitor has more solid numbers in front of him. But that last agreement was based upon, and it was a $500 a week and stay current on your current taxes. So when you do the basic math, it's basically $26,000 for the year of 2017. Well, yes, they missed those months of payments, but if you look at the payments that they did pay, it's well over $26,000. So they, at that time, assumed that they were caught up on the payment plan because they were well ahead of that payment plan. So
they paid more than $500
they paid more than
per week
five, like-
while they were.
So some weeks they'd come in, they'd pay 500, but other weeks they'd pay 2,000. And it's kind of like, on a payment plan, if you're expected to $500 a week, you kind of expect like a lease. If I'm paying 500, 500, 500 at 2,000 a month, and I pay 4,000 that month, I think I'm ahead of the game. Instead of coming here every week to make $500 to $500, you're thinking you're ahead of the plan. So we then met with the town manager, the finance director, the tax collector, Solicitor Williamson, and myself yesterday. And the reason why I put this on the agenda last week was because I knew if we had our meeting that we can discuss it. They are up for tax sale this coming Thursday. So the discussion that I want to have here, and Solicitor's going to come out with, we talked earlier today, and he's going to come up with a suggestion, but the council would have to decide whether or not it stays on tax sale or off tax sale, and do we allow them to go back on a payment plan? So again, Solicitor, I'll put this in your hands.
All right, again, this is based upon the analysis of information of payments provided by Mr. Raimondo's representatives, which were his three daughters. So I cross-referenced the town accounts that were provided by Rosemarie, the receipt of payments for all three real estate accounts, motor vehicle, sewer, and tangible accounts against the time frame in which the town and the taxpayer had negotiated the three tax agreements of the past. I established a baseline amount for each account and then addressed payments made against the application to interest and principal of old accounts, payments towards current accounts, and the fact that for fiscal year 2018, no payments have been made yet. As just ballpark numbers, from 12/31/16 through 12/31/18, they paid approximately $52,000, $53,000 in taxes. Now, those taxes are spread out over all of those accounts, and again, interest was paid first. Upon my discussion with Rosemarie, the smaller the amount owed was zeroed out quickly to get that off, and so that could be current. Starting on 1/31/19 through April of this year, we've got another $22,000 that was paid in 4 months. So the 22 and the 52, that's a lot of money that's been happening for the last 3 years. Now, has it been weekly? Has it been constant? No, it's been sporadic. But I'll give you an example. Going back to, say, August of 2017, there was a payment of $4,088.90, another payment of $500, another payment of $1,500 for that particular month, so there's $6,000 there. 11/18, again, $4,088.87, which is to remain current, another payment of $1,890.38, and another payment of $1,500. February of 18, $4,500, again, because of the quarterly, another $4,088 because of the quarterly, and then there's another $4,500. Granted, between March 18 and November of 18, there was only one payment of $1,334.93, and I'm not going to get into the particulars as to the reason why, but I know that Mr. Raimondo was not in his best physical condition, let's put it that way. But again, starting on 12/31/18, the payments start going up through the last 4 months. So based upon the dollars that the Raimondos have been paying towards the arrearage, the interest, and the currents, my suggestion and recommendation would be to the council to get on a payment schedule for a 3, 6, or 9-month review, allowing the tax collector to present on a monthly basis evidence of payment. Non-compliance in the payment schedule would result in what's called a site-specific tax sale to be scheduled within a reasonable time, with the taxpayer being responsible for all costs associated with same. A reasonable amount of time, in my opinion, would be anywhere from 6 to 9 months. That would be the only property on the tax sale. So if they don't comply with what we're going to propose tonight, whatever the dollar amount the council agrees upon, it can still go to tax sale, not in this, in this calendar year. All right? Some of the conditions that you might want to consider, that the taxpayer agrees to accept the current assessment for FY19 for both parcels at the business address, which is West Warwick Avenue and/or Brookside Avenue. All the parties, including the 3 daughters that have the power of attorney, which signed the agreement, along with the parents, Pasco and Susan Raimondo. The power of attorney for tonight's discussion has already been provided, naming all 3 daughters. I believe 4 daughters now. We'd have 4, I'm sorry. All payments, as usual, are going to be applied to interest and penalties first, then the principal. Interest and penalties first, then principal. And again, the matter would remain on the agenda for a monthly status check with the tax collector. So the only thing that has to be decided tonight, if the council is going to approve this and remove them from tax sale of May 9th, 2019, is to come up with a dollar amount that you want them to pay in the next 3, 6, or 9 months, and to decide whether you want it weekly, monthly, or if you're going to allow them to make a lump sum payment.
So the question I have, I mean, first I would ask the council if they want to take it off the tax sale.
Well-
Second, if they want to put on a, well,
Let me
ask.
give the numbers first off. Rose's numbers to get the property current is $60,601.
43 to be off tax sale.
Right. Now, if I may, the numbers I came up with were roughly $3,000 higher than that, but I may have doubled up on a credit versus a transfer, so I'm not that concerned with that. But $60,000 is including 18, which is still under appeal. So theoretically, you're looking at $45,000, not counting 18. And $45,000 is owed, you'd have to come up with some amount or some percentage of that 45 or 60, depending on what you want to do, and ask them to pay that over the next 3, 6, and 9 months to keep them current.
So, like I said, I think the best thing to do, because I'm not sure if the Raimundos are prepared to talk about a dollar amount.
Probably not. I mean, this is just in very general terms.
So here's what I'm saying. I think the council should approve or disapprove of putting them back on an agreement, or then they can meet with the tax collector and the town manager and whoever else to discuss that, and you can bring it back before the council. And second, whether or not it's to come off tax sale. And I think if we put them on a payment plan, once again, that they come off tax sale temporarily.
Well,
And I
that's
think we
why-
should go the max of 9 months. Now, and the reason why I'm saying that is if, and then we get the updates, whether it's monthly or bi-monthly or whatever, we're doing that now for 2 individuals on this agenda earlier tonight, which was the update for Med Plus and University Orthopedics. Now, University Orthopedics is working on it. I know it's different, but because it changed hands.
Well, no. Remember, there's 2 bankruptcy
Yeah,
petitions.
and then Med Plus is not, so now we're gonna move on with that.
But
So again, I think that's something that we look at and have a monthly update or bi-monthly update.
But my suggestion tonight for the council, so everyone knows what's going forward, you should come up with something as an amount not to be less than versus not an amount to exceed, because if we don't have a number tonight and you take it off tax sale, there goes the leverage, and I'm not saying that this would happen, but they wouldn't have to do anything. They could say, well, we're not gonna negotiate now, you've taken it off tax sale. So my suggestion would be is to come up with a number, and that, I don't know if, again, if they're willing to discuss it in public, if not, but again, you certainly can do it in terms of taking it off the tax sale, and if something should not occur, again, have that site-specific tax sale in 3, 6, or 9 months. Well, likely 6 or 9, because it takes time.
Let me be fair here. Do you have a number in mind, and do you mind coming up to the microphone? Just state your name and address for the record.
Anna Maria Raimondo, 26 Carlson Circle. And with that said, everything's been such whirlwind, so I don't think that we've really had an opportunity to, we've assessed quite a bit of the payments and what's been paid over the past couple of years, and going through everything. There's a lot of properties, a lot of numbers, and a lot of things being thrown around. And yes, we've become fairly current on a lot of things. With that said, to throw a number out there, I'd like to maybe have a little bit more of an opportunity to assess things accurately. And I have to say, as far as like a bargaining tool or what, in good faith, we've really gone to the extent to place a lot of money in a lot of different areas. And for us to be here tonight and for us to, come with this, our intentions are to get the money paid, get caught up, and move forward. So it's not like we could throw any number out there, but with that in mind, our intentions are obviously to get.
So going back to what you said, if they decide not to come in and talk about a settlement or agreement, that we could do the site-specific tax sale at that point, so.
I don't think this family's trying to shirk their responsibility. They've made
No,
good
they're
faith
making good
payments.
faith
so-
payments.
No, and that's not, the opinion would be is to assist the business, but again, I'm just, want to be clear about tax sales. I want to be clear about how you have to schedule what work goes into them. And also, as my concern as always is, it's got nothing to do with this particular entity. If you have additional entities coming forward seeking the same type of relief, then your finance director and town manager might have a problem with that because it's going to restrict the ebb and flow of monies coming in. If they're coming to you today and saying, we don't have a number, and that number can be worked out within the next 5 to 10 days, I don't have a problem with that.
So why don't we make that
But
determination that.
again, the
that-
first thing would be is you have to vote
Correct.
with the conditions.
That's right, so a
Fine.
condition would
So,
be that
sure.
an agreement is met by either the next meeting or the first meeting of the month of June.
That's fine.
Yeah, because I'm sure I can speak for all of us when I say we'd like to be clear on exactly what you're looking for a number and how it's gonna be structured.
Sure.
And, you know, because that, in all the information, that's kind of not completely clear.
Well,
You know,
you're not gonna get an agreement like you did before. The disagreement is gonna be
No, I understand it's
cut
gonna
and
be
dry,
structured
so
different.
everyone knows what it means.
Yeah,
So Anna, let me say, the previous agreement from March 2017, is that a reasonable number for us to say a minimum of $2,000 a month? Is that a reasonable number?
well, that's the thing,
I'm asking.
and you know, by looking at the numbers, it was sporadic. We excelled, we exceeded the number of, the amount that we initially started with, but because of the way that income, you know, comes and goes, it's difficult to say specifically, you know, whether that $10,000 will be in one shot, or whether it may be
And
500.
I think that's something that whoever comes in and makes the payment has to make it clear. So,
Yeah.
in other words, if you're coming in and paying $2,000, I think you gotta let the tax collector know, that's for the next 4 payments.
Yeah.
You know, that way and you may come in the next week and make more payments, but just make sure you CYA and just make sure that you're covering
Yeah.
yourself through the payment.
And
Yeah.
one of the issues we discussed today was just the fact of communication.
Yes.
So even though the tax collector is going to apply it to interest and principal, they'll still get credit for the payment. So it doesn't make it, so if you guys agree 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, as long as that money's paid, tax collector can do what she wants with it, but they're in compliance with the agreement.
And I don't wanna say an excessive amount, just to throw that out
You
there.
don't wanna offend.
No, I
You know,
wanna be
I don't
reasonable.
mean to interrupt, but anyone who owns a small business like I do knows how difficult it is in terms of waiting for invoice payments. You know, you don't always get them all at once, you fall behind on something. And if you fall behind to this degree, catching up becomes, you know, a constant race, and you're always behind. So we do need to have clear guidelines, we do need to make it, you know, somewhat reasonable in terms of what they can actually do. And if they do make an overpayment, that it's applied going forward. At one point, I thought, is this like a mortgage, if you pay your principal and then, you wanna make an additional payment, you gotta like write a special note?
You've got 7 different accounts, maybe more, because of the way things are done. You have 2 residential, 1 business for real estate, tangibles, motor vehicles, and sewer. When the money comes in, you don't have the opportunity to say, I want to take 400 and put it towards the principal here, and 1,200 put it towards interest. The tax collector does that, so you can't add an additional penalty.
Right.
If you're all paid up to
But
date,
they were operating under the premise that they thought the payments were being applied.
well,
Forward.
whether that's true or not, I can't really, I didn't execute or draft the original agreement, so I don't know what the understandings were. The agreements are pretty much in black and white, clearly indicating what's happening, so, but without reliving the past going forward, all right? They had prior agreements that were $5,500 a month, then to $4,400 a month, then to $500 a week. So that's kind of the parameters. And obviously, the $5,500 and $4,400 a month aren't gonna work,
No,
all right? So, but again, if your approval to remove them from tax sale is gonna be conditioned upon what we read into the record tonight, or on a motion and a second and approval of the council, an agreement can be worked out, I'm assuming, I don't even think we would need 30 days, the end of May, but I think we could get it done probably within the next 2 weeks. The next town council meeting is gonna be when?
28.
We'd have it done by the 28th.
So the first question I asked from the council is, and I'll take a, roll call.
May I just ask, and Rose, you've been involved in these conversations?
Yes.
And you're comfortable with that?
Am I comfortable?
Yes. Well, I mean,
Rose, come up to the microphone.
should I?
You step aside.
well, I mean, I think we need to make sure, I know you guys talked, but
No, I understand.
It's not about me being comfortable, it's about the money coming in and the finance director doing her numbers for the budget. That's the issue.
okay. But you'll sort of be responsible for this.
So let me put it to you this way. I'll just put it out there this way. They've been paying interest right along at 12%. Goes to tax sale, they actually get a reduction because it's 10%, but the town won't be collecting that interest anymore
Right.
also. So, you know, I know we're saying we have to do it for budget reasons, but we're also collecting 12% on their money. I mean, and if you look at one time, it was at 93,000 and they're down to 45. I mean, they've made.
Oh,
over the-
I absolutely
you
agree
know,
that we should,
I
But I
think
just
we need
wanted
to
to hear
work with
your-
them, and I know Rose is put in a tough spot as a tax collector, because her job is to collect as much money as she possibly can to make that financial, collection rate, and also, if not higher, which helps the town. But, I mean, so, and again, if anybody came before the council with this much evidence and this
Yep.
much of showing good faith payments, I think we would work with them as a council.
I agree.
I do have a question for Rose. So on a tax sale, what percentage of value do we normally get at a tax sale?
You get, right now, the tax sale that's gonna be taking place on Thursday, we collect the 17s, the 18s, and then, of course, there's fees with that, and there's interest. So we're getting everything, and everything's
So out of the,
paid.
if the tax sale's 43,000 or 45,000, out of that 43 or 45,000, how much would you get?
No, we get everything, we get
All
all of it.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
100%.
Mm-hmm,
Now, if they go on a tax payment and they pay it off in, say, a year and a half to 2 years, how much would you? So you got 43, you'd probably get closer to 60 to 70 with the interest.
with the interest.
So
I'd
we
have
don't-
to,
we
we'd have
pretty
to
much
calculate that.
Guarantee, and I hate to say it this way, we're almost doubling our money. You know, and I hate to say that because the taxpayer, it's at the taxpayer's dime, but we're also helping a business that's been here 45 years,
Yep,
worked
agree.
with the community, and has done things remarkably when the station fire happened, and it's done a lot of things for this community. And I think before, if anybody else came before us or sat down with us and had this same issue, I think we could work with them. I know it's tough for you to decide that, because you do work with them, you do put people on payment plans. I just think, like you said, communication failed, and, you know, from that, whatever, March to August, whatever happened there, unfortunately, there was no communication. But again, at that time, I don't think they really had power of attorney either, and now they do. So, you know, at least they have actually 6 people that are willing and able to speak on behalf of Pat's Towing if something, God forbid, happens. So there shouldn't be no lack of communication at this point.
And that was my point, to make sure that Rose is involved in the process and the communication.
Right.
That-
That's fine, yeah, I will be. I mean, I have an open door policy.
I'm sure, I know you do. I do know you do. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so I'm gonna first take a roll call vote to take it off tax sale. Mary Beth?
Yes,
John D'Amico?
Yes.
Jay Messier?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Now, payment plan to be executed by June 1st. Does that sound fair? And for the first agenda for
I would suggest that it be put on the agenda for the May
May
28th
28th?
meeting.
So payment plan executed by May 28th? Is that fair?
I think that should give us plenty
is
of
that,
time.
is that,
I guess
you ladies comfortable with
gives
that
3
too?
weeks.
Yeah?
Yes, thank
Yeah.
3 weeks. Mary Beth?
Yes,
John D'Amico?
Yes.
Jay Messier?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Good luck.
thank you.
Do I have to give you a
Yep, because now you have to put the applications out.
Okay. Upcoming appointments, Sewer Use Appeals Board, 1 alternate member with a term to expire 10/20/21. Westwark Public Library Trustees, 4 with a 3-year term. Board of Tenant Affairs, 1 with a term to expire on 2/21. Board Assessment Review, 1 for a 3-year term. Board of Canvassers and Registration, 1 is 6-year term, 2 alternate members for a 6-year term. King County Water Authority, 1 for a 7-year term. Recreation Committee, 1 full member. Pension Board Committee, 1 term to expire 11/18/2020. Public comment. I have to read out.
Now, public comment?
Pika Job 25 Nowicki Street. Can I speak on the fire hydrants, or do I have to wait till the following meeting? I wanted to speak at the end, but I didn't know if there was public comment
Well,
allowed
they made
that.
a motion to table, so we couldn't comment. So I would personally wait till the chief gets the information, because
Okay, okay.
but that's up
And
to
my
you.
second question is could you tell me why my issue isn't on the agenda?
I gave you that information personally to
I'd
yourself.
like to
the other
put it
day.
on the record.
It's
That's,
gonna be on the agenda, next agenda, I told you that.
for what reasons?
Huh?
Why isn't it on tonight?
I didn't put it on this agenda because we're still working on it. They're meeting tomorrow morning, Pete, at 9 AM.
I'm just asking you.
But Pete, you've already, you know why I'm frustrated? I got it all here in writing that I sent it to you and you're asking.
I'm asking you to
But
put
you
it.
asked me personally, I gave you the answer,
I'm
now you're asking
you
me
to put it
again.
on record, David.
Okay, so you want it on the record. Personally, it was not on the agenda because I told you they were gonna have a meeting to go over the Shippey Ave, remaining punch list and expenses, and then we can discuss if there's money remaining, we can figure that out. If the money can come out of the grant, then so be it, the money can come out of the grant, and then I can have it on the agenda, next agenda, because Councilman Messi also has something else on the other agenda too, regarding the Shippey Ave project. They're meeting tomorrow morning, 9 AM, so that's why it's not on the agenda. Why would I can't answer you if I don't know the answers, and that's what I told you. I said, it's gonna be on the next agenda.
I understand. I just wanted it, your opinion or on record. That's all I'm asking.
I'm sorry to get short with you, but we constantly communicate via Facebook Messenger.
I
And
don't
I give
disagree.
you every answer that you ask, and then you come up here and ask me the same question.
Because I want it on record, there's a reason why I want it on record. That's all. I mean, I know what you told me, and I'm just asking you to put it on
You
record.
have it on record in writing from me too, I mean,
Okay, thank you.
thanks. Any other public comment? Actually, motion to move into executive session.
Motion. Well, no.
Yeah,
Well,
adjourn.
We're gonna adjourn and then.
All right.
Motion to
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, we can move into executive session.
I'll make a motion to move into executive session.
I second.
Second.
Yeah, hold on. You're all set. Yep.
It's not a big deal, but I just wanna chat about it. All right. All right.
Well, now we gotta go into executive, we're gonna take roll call publicly, then
Yeah,
you.
so you're gonna take a motion to go into executive session, so who's gonna do that?
Did you guys adjourn for the executive session?
Roll call.
You can, so Jay's gonna read into go into executive session, we need everybody to leave, and then you can take roll call and then exit. Jay, make that motion so I can ask these people to leave. I don't think you have to be here. It's legal matters, does he have to be here? Okay.
That's what I'm gonna suggest that we do, RG Royal Mill first.
I already made the motion.
But now read the 22, 20 dash, whatever.
So Jay made
42.
a motion?
I made the motion. Under 42, under section 42-46-4 and 42-46-5A4, 7 of Rhode Island General Laws, the council will convene into executive session to discuss a litigation status update.
Have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We're going into executive session. Mr. Mazzullo, you must leave. We're going into executive session.
Do you want me to close the door?
Actually, take a roll call. Timmy can shut the door.
Councilman Licciardi?
Here.
Councilwoman, Williamson?
Here.
Councilman Mezia?
Here.
Council Vice President D'Amico?
Here.
And Council President Goslin.
Here.
There is a quorum on record.
Tim?
Hold on.
Just a moment.
She's gonna exit.
I'm gonna shut off the cameras.
Yes, please do. And the mics.